This guide is intended to provide a better understanding of how T&S works and to demonstrate the operation of its key features, called auto-upgrade and reactivation. These are two core elements responsible for configuring strategy and tactics in T&S. They will help you structure your workflow correctly and avoid losing profits while progressing through the levels. To illustrate the nuances a user might encounter, we will walk through the filling of 8 levels using different configurations in each scheme. This will help clearly evaluate each strategy and see how the settings can impact earnings in T&S. Auto-upgrade is a feature designed to automatically activate the next level. In other words, if you are on level 1, the enable mode will automatically upgrade to level 2, and so on up to level 12, where this feature is no longer available. Reactivation is the repeated activation of the same level after it has been filled. This means that as soon as the level is completed within the current cycle, the same level will be reactivated in the next cycle. It is important to understand that by default, all functions are always enabled, which can be seen in a separate panel for each level. To disable or re-enable them, you'll need to confirm the operation on the blockchain. Here's how it works. To re-enable them, you'll need to perform the same action through your crypto wallet. In the first example, we'll look at filling the matrix of level 1 in the S6 scheme with both auto-upgrade and reactivation functions enabled. It's important to understand the purpose of each slot in S6. Slots 1 and 2 make up the first line, and their payouts always go to the upline partner. The income from slot 3 always goes directly to your internal balance. Slots 4 and 5 are allocated for the auto-upgrade function, and slot 6 is designated for reactivation. Note that we do not have the next level activated yet. Now let's see how the scheme fills up and how income is generated. We see that the first 2 slots have been filled, but no payouts were received because they were sent to the upline. Now slot 3 has been filled, and the payout was received directly to the inner balance, which you can check right here. Note that with slot 3 filled, Auto Upgrade can still be turned off. The button is active. Slot 4 is now filled, and we can see that the income from it was held by the smart contract for the Auto Upgrade function because it is enabled. The income from this slot is instantly frozen by the system, and you no longer have the option to disable this function. Slot 5 appears, and now auto-upgrade to the next level is triggered. You can see that level 2 has now been unlocked, which was previously inactive. Slot 6 has now been filled, and the reactivation function has been triggered. As a result, the same level has now been reopened, but in the next cycle. All your new partners will now fall into this newly reactivated level. If you disable reactivation at level 1, there will be no available space for new partners to join, and you will lose income while they take spots in other users' matrices. Now let's move on to filling the next level, but this time we'll change the conditions. Let's pre-activate level 3 and disable all of its functions. While keeping all functions enabled on level 2, like this. Now let's observe how the scheme fills. 4 slots have appeared. The first 2 went as rewards to the upline. The payout from slot 3 was credited to the inner balance, and the 4th payout was frozen for auto-upgrade. With this setup, some of your partners may begin filling level 3 even while level 2 remains incomplete. As you can see, with auto-upgrade and reactivation disabled, 3 slots were filled, and we received all payouts to the inner balance, minus the 25% fee according to T&S rules. The system withheld 25% from the auto-upgrade slots and 25% from the reactivation slot. Additionally, the next level was not activated and level 3 was closed. Now let's return to filling level 2. Slot 5 has now been filled, triggering auto upgrade. Take a look. Level 3 has been opened again, but in the next cycle. Here is our previous cycle, and now a new one has appeared. Slot 6 has been filled, and reactivation of level 2 has been triggered in the next cycle. Let's return to level 3, adjust the settings again. All functions are enabled, but level 4 is not yet active. As a reminder, S3 has only one line, and all payouts go to you. So the first slot is filled, and the income immediately goes toward auto upgrade, awaiting the second payment, which is intended for the purchase of level 4. In other words, no income is expected at this stage. But now let's do the following. Before the second slot is filled, let's buy level 4 manually. We activate it. Now we return to level 3 and wait for the second slot to be filled. Once it is, since we managed to activate the next level in time, both payments are credited to our inner balance. At this point, we can also disable reactivation since the third slot is not yet filled. We disable it. And now we receive another payout, but with a 25% fee for disabling the function. Still, the remaining funds are credited to our inner balance. Let's begin filling level 4, and as always, change the conditions. First, we purchase level 5 and leave all functions enabled on level 4. Then we simply observe how the scheme fills. We fill 4 slots. As usual, 2 payouts go to the upline, 1 goes to the inner balance, and the payout from the 4th slot is held in the smart contract for auto upgrade. We wait for slot 5 to be filled. At that point, we receive 2 more payouts to the inner balance. This happens because level 5 is already active. But since auto upgrade is enabled, the smart contract temporarily holds the funds until slot 5 is filled. We now fill slot 6 and move on to the next example. In this example, before we begin filling level 5, we disable auto upgrade for it. Then we activate level 6 and disable both auto upgrade and reactivation on it. Now let's fill the first 4 slots and see how the income is distributed. We can see that 2 payouts were credited to our inner balance at once, one from slot 3 and the second from slot 4. In this example, the income was not locked in the smart contract because auto upgrade was disabled while the next level was already active. The 25% fee was also not deducted since the next level was active. Now we move on to level 6 and see that all 3 slots have been filled and the level is completely closed. Since reactivation was disabled, level 6 is no longer active and there is no active level 7. As a result, the payouts from all 3 slots were received with a 25% fee. We return to level 5 and fill slot 5. We see that the payout came with a 25% fee because level 6 was already closed before we filled slot 5. We now close the scheme and proceed to the next example. We buy the 6th level again and turn off auto update and enabling reactivation. Next, we proceed to buy the 7th level. Activate it. Then we observe how the 2 slots on the 6th level are filled. Now the payout arrives without the 25% commission because we have the next level active. We fill the 3rd slot and move on to the 7th level. This strategy is optimal. All payouts are received immediately and in full, with no deductions. Regardless of the level or whether the structure is S3 or S6, As long as the next level is active and auto upgrade is turned off, all payouts are instantly credited to the balance in full. Before starting to fill the seventh, disable auto upgrade on it, we observe how the 4 slots are filled. Note, the payout from the 4 slot was sent to the inner balance without a smart contract deduction, but with a 25% commission because the next level was inactive and auto update was turned off. Before filling the 5th slot, we activate the 8th level. Then we check what income is received when the 5th slot on the 7th level is filled. The payout from the 5th slot also arrived without the 25% commission, as the 8th level was already active. Remember, the payout from the 4th slot had a 25% commission because at the time it was filled, the 8th level was not yet active. It's crucial to monitor these details. Now we look at the filling of slot 6 with reactivation enabled. Here everything works as usual, and the income is used to purchase the same level again. We've reviewed 8 different scenarios that demonstrate how the auto upgrade and reactivation functions work and how they affect income and level progression. Based on these examples, the most optimal strategy is to disable the auto update function when the next level is active. This allows you to receive all payments immediately in full and without deductions to your inner balance. Before filling any matrix, activate the next level, and only then is it advisable to turn off auto update.